All right. Hi, everybody. We are going to start our official kickoff for our recruiting training. This will be a kind of a master mini series of calls with some homework assignments, maybe some worksheets. Like we're going to spend the next month-ish working through some of the basic principles and advanced principles of recruiting so that you come away from this whole training feeling really clear, confident, excited about what it means to recruit and build a team. Um, my name's Jamie Sheppard, and I'm one of the leaders of our team and one of the leaders of this training. We have a couple other amazing leaders that are going to be doing this with us, and I'll go through at the end tonight what the next few modules will look like and some of the topics so you can kind of have a little taste of what to expect. Let me recap some of the things from our Q&A call we did last week. So if you are like brand new to Hugh and Grace, brand new to network marketing, this would probably not be the best training for you right now. I think that there's a really great trainings in the Knowledge Center. We have a really robust spreadsheet of trainings we've done. And it's by no way like a message that we don't want you in this training. I would just say you do it next time. I want you to really be able to focus through the holidays with your foundation and getting going. This is designed, the goal of this is to kind of like add more skills in your tool belt and help you polish the skill of recruiting. I was reading through some of your initial kind of applications, right? They weren't really applications, but kind of what's holding you back and what you'd like to learn about recruiting. And a lot of it is mindset stuff, right? Like that fear, the ambiguity of like, what will someone think, or not being able to lead them well, not knowing what to say, how to say it. And so we're just really gonna like reverse engineer and make sure you have those building blocks. But I think that it's hard to get there if we focus on that when you're brand new versus just understanding human grace, using the products, getting acculturated to this, who we are here. This is a really unique, special space. Our team is really fun and unique, and we've really kind of we're doing this differently than any company or any team I've ever seen. So I want you to really have that new season. Does that make sense? To just like soak in that fun new energy without distracting yourself with adding, stressing yourself out. We will have a couple calls in a short amount of time in the next week. And then we'll probably have a lighter schedule over Christmas and New Year, obviously. And then we'll pick back up in January. But we wanted to kind of cram a few things in over the next week or so that you had some stuff to start working on and trying and executing. How's this sounding to everyone? Um, and I'm so excited. I know a lot of people are watching the recording, and that's totally fine. I want this to feel like a self-paced thing, but thank you for those of you who are on live. I want these to be conversational. They will all but tonight will have slides so that we can you can screenshot, you have some examples. Tonight I really just wanted to talk through truly like a conversation, like what recruiting really means. Because I think sometimes some people even interpret recruiting as a bad word. Does that anyone feel like you think of recruiting as like a icky thing in some way? Is that I see a couple of you nodding your head. So I wanted to kind of just address that because you're here because someone recruited you. And so and if you're glad that you're here, then right there, you should be able to kind of go, that's not an icky thing. But how we approach recruiting, if we do it in an icky way, it's going to come across as icky. But I think we all like to be thought of, right? We all like to be invited and welcomed and wanted. And so I think of recruiting as the biggest compliment in the world. I'll get messages from people from other companies, and while sometimes I'm like, did you not look at my social media? But still, the fact that they took that time and that courage to invite, it still can, I can choose to take that as a compliment as well. So let's talk about what recruiting is. So recruiting, when we're talking about recruiting through the lens of this this training, we're talking about inviting others to join you in the Hue and Grace advocate option, option, right? Into the mission to join our company and partner with you in our mission and be part of our team, your team. So recruiting is not like selling to a product to someone and but enrolling a customer. Your goal, your objective is to recruit an advocate. That also could include affiliate or retailer, but for the lens of this training, we're going to focus mostly on advocates because advocates are what we are, and it's going to duplicate and lead to that like biggest passive income growth. Um, so one of the things I like to teach and explain is that we when what we talk about, we attract, right? Who we are, we attract. And so if you're so and we have this really beautiful ability to build offline and online here. And so hopefully you're doing a mix of both. But let's just talk through the idea of just posting on social media for a second. So if you're just using social media to talk about Hydrate and Detox, our night serum, triple boost, our supplements, our cleaning products, right? We want to be doing that. We want to be great educators and value adders and marketers for our company. If you're doing that, if that's the majority of your posts are around products and hormone health education and things like that, which is a lot of us, what are you going to attract? Are you going to attract business builders? Are you going to attract customers? Right? You're laying the train tracks. I think of it as train tracks, and I use that visual because train tracks don't like swerve lanes that easily, right? They can, but they're on a groove. They have a set path, they have a set destination. And so when your social media is laying those train tracks to attract to get to one outcome and one specific destination. So if you're laying the train tracks of products, you're going to arrive at the destination of attracting customers, which is great. We want retail customers. We want to grow our PV. We want to sell to customers. A lot of times those customers can become advocates. But for those that are like, I've struggled with recruiting and I don't know why, look at yourself, self-reflect. What are your train tracks on your social media doing? One of your assignments for tonight was to go in an inventory your own. If that's not a kid saying mom, that's a cat. Just FYI, if you can hear it, just ignore him. He's fine. That's Barnaby. He walks around saying mom all the time, buddy. And so, if you're self-reflecting as you looked at your social media, how many of you looked at your social media and were like, I don't see much about business here. It's just about products, right? And so, was that anyone? And so, yeah. And so there's like, it's like, was that an aha moment, Aaron, where you're like, oh, no wonder why I'm not attracting business builders when I'm not talking about the business. And so what we're going to do in this training is start getting really intentional and really clear on how to lay the train tracks to get you to business builders. Okay. And that's going to be social media. That's going to be private messages. It's going to be mindset. We're going to attack all the layers. And like how to talk about it in an authentic, unique way. Maria asked a great question. Will this training help grow in the retail space too? Absolutely. Because here you teed me up there perfectly because it's all sales, you guys. It's all sales. We're going to learn like basic sales skills. We have a sales job. I love selling. I love selling things that make a difference in people's life. This business makes a difference in people's lives too. So it's just selling something different. You're not selling a tangible product. You're selling an opportunity. You're selling a culture. You're selling a community. You're selling a mission. You're selling an impact. You're selling a financial opportunity, right? There's so many things, and it's just a matter of laying that intentional train tracks. Does that make sense? And we're going to dig into like how intentional you have to be. So I like to use the analogy of like a wedding. If your neighbor or even one of your good friends was telling you about their wedding and they're like, oh my gosh, I got my dress, we did our cake tasting, and like you knew every single detail about that wedding. We've been there, right? And we're so excited for them. but you did not get an invite to that wedding. You heard all about it, but you never got the paper in the mail or handed to you saying, will you come to my wedding at RSVP? Would you show up at that wedding? If your friend or whoever, neighbor, didn't say, Beth, will you come to my wedding and be my guest? Would you just show up? No, right? Even though like I find I've told you I'm not getting married, but even if I told you all of the things about it, we wouldn't do that. Same as if I was going to a concert and I was like, Shannon, Taylor Swift's in town. Let's go see her. But I didn't like make the next step of like saying, let's do this date and let's go do this and started arranging it. Would you just go buy the ticket on your own? Right? You have to be guided to that and get that explicit invite. So we're going to talk through that too. But I think sometimes we have to look at how intentional some people think they're recruiting someone, but that personalized, direct invitation to partner with you as an advocate and join this business wasn't there. It was just a lot of implications. We have to make it like so crystal clear. Okay. Um, and sorry, I'm looking at the chat. So we have to get really clear on what recruiting is so that when we do it, it's really clear to the people on social media or in our life or in our communities. Okay. So, because the average person doesn't get what we do or what this is, it's unconditional, it's non-traditional. And so someone without direct sales experience, they're not going to just know what joining a team means, right? Or what hue and grace means, or what, we have to be really explicit and educational with it. So that's kind of point number one. Now let's understand why growing a team is so important. Okay. And Heather, I see your question. I will circle back at the end and I'll make sure you've got the right email, like you're on my email list for this, because we're going to be communicating mostly via like email from call to call. But we'll double check. So, but let's look at why building a team is important. So one of the cool things about Hue and Grace, you guys, is that you can actually do really well here, whether you're retail focused or team building focused. You can really, we've got a lot of leaders and we'll look at and kind of compare incomes like that are really heavy in sales and not as much in team building, and others that are really big in team building and not as much in retail sales. And like incomes are comparable, which is pretty cool. A lot of companies are not like that. You have to like my previous company was like it was about warm bodies. It was all about warm bodies, and it was quantity over quality. And here it can very much be and should very much be about quality versus just mass numbers of recruiting. But some people are really stronger in customer sales and some are stronger in team building. I early on in my career, like in 2013, I took some time and looked at the comp plan, and I realized, gosh, this is going to be a lot easier. This is going to be a lot faster to grow. I'm going to have a lot more fun if I am not trying to carry these buckets of water all by myself. So what does that mean? You guys don't worry about all the things. We'll talk about that at the end. Okay. Well, if you didn't get an email, I'll go through with that, how to get on that list at the end. I'll take care of you. Just stick around till the end. So let's look at our compensation plan at a glance. Okay. So, because I think that this will show, like, if we look at this organizational volume, that's our team volume, okay, requirement as we move up in ranks. And through Senior Advocate, you actually can get there all by yourself. You don't even need a team. But after Senior Advocate, if we're wanting to unlock different levels of earning, okay, levels 1, 2, and 3 get fully unlocked at Mentor, which requires at least one advocate. If you see that structure requirement, there's no structure requirement, which means you need no team at Senior Advocate. Does that make sense? At the next rank up, Mentor, you do need at least one person on your team, and they need to be an associate advocate. And then those requirements go up as the ranks go up. At the very, very, very top rank, you actually only need bare minimum 4 working legs. So again, it's quality over quantity. But also this organizational volume requirement goes up. So while it's 800, So in US, it's dollar for dollar, right? So $800 in sales is 800 organizational volume. At mentor, it's 1,500. Associate mentor, it's 3,000. Now, how much easier would it be if you had 500 and you had someone else with 500 who also had someone with 500, right? And that all contributed to your organizational volume versus you having to get 1,500 all by yourself. See what I'm saying? So there's no right or wrong. Okay, you can those, especially those people that are really strong in sales, they do shoulder a lot of that. But I learned really quickly, and what I'm trying to explain here is that it's you're split, like think of that as this one big vat of water that you're having to carry all of that alone, and that gets really heavy versus everyone taking a little. And that's where, like, as we look at this, our teams will grow into like a family genealogy, and it all, like, everyone carries that load together. So when we hit executive director, which is the very, very top rank here, right on the far right, it's 500,000 in organizational volume. You guys, that is an astronomical number in sales in a month. But we were able to do that because we have so many amazing people on our team that are all taking a bucket of their own. So when you're looking at your own goals, and we're going to talk about goals on this training, your own goals and your own hopes, your own income goals, your own impact goals, where you want to grow, at rank goals, etc. Just knowing, we don't have to memorize all of this right now, but just know that as you grow and these organizational volumes get higher, your income gets higher. Having a team is going to mean that you can focus on, you can go a lot farther than just how far you can go alone. And it's a lot more fun because you've got people to do it with. I'm going to stop sharing there and look at the chat. Make sense? Hopefully that was really basic. But I think that having a team to link arms with is also my favorite part, because then you get to, like, brainstorm and dream and grow and find your people. Like, find those weirdos that walk through the world like you do. Like, that was my favorite part. I'm like, I'm not the only one that's like a weird ADHD animal lover. Like, awesome. You too, cool. And then and it just makes life and business just that much more fun. So, and I am not the best. Well, I am a good salesperson, but my area of passion and my strengths lie in team building. And so, like, I give myself permission to stay in that space. Now, that doesn't mean I don't try to stretch myself every month, and I set my own sales goals, my customer goals. And then, and then there's others that are really strong in customer sales, and they have to stretch themselves and set some recruiting goals. So I think there's a place for both. You don't want to limit yourself or paint yourself into a corner with just one or the other. And luckily we have this amazing mission and this amazing company that makes both really fun and easy and winnable and shareable. So, I think, like, anyone, so I have a question on my notes of, like, who shouldn't be building a team. And I just put that on there because I think everyone should be building a team. But also, sorry. But unless someone feels very passionate about not leading, about not working together with someone. It's not like I'm not anyone that I recruit, any of you guys, like, even if I didn't recruit you directly, but you're on my team, like, I'm not your boss. I'm not your manager. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not your parent. Like, I'm here to be a partner with you. And if I'm ahead of you, I'm going to pull you with me, and help you grow according to your goals and dreams. But I have seen over 12 years, there are certain people that don't want to lead. They don't want to help others in that way. They don't desire that, which is okay. I just want to give you permission. Like, if that is just not going to bring you joy, then that's okay. You can sell your heart's content. We have a scaled commission, right? We can earn up to 40% commission just on our sales, which is great. But I do think that if you are building a team, you do not have to know all the things. No one does, but there is a commitment to supporting them, walking shoulder to shoulder, making sure they're plugged into our team hub, access the tools. You do not need to make them successful. That's their job. But there is a commitment of being available to them. And I think that's the only person that maybe should think about it before they start recruiting people, if they're not willing to stick with them, right? No one would want to get abandoned by their mentor. Okay, so I'm gonna check the chat. Yes, let your freak flag fly. Absolutely, Jax. So one of the things we're going to dig into a lot on this training too is mindset work and fears. I think we all have them, and I'm going to address them now briefly. We'll dig into them more later, but I'm going to address some of them right now because I just want you to know that, like, this is your permission to put it down. Take it, put it down, because every single one of us have fear. For fear of being rejected. Raise your hand if you like. I'm going to remove my spotlight so I see all of you. Raise your hand if you like to be rejected. Raise your hand if you like being told no. Raise your hand if you literally like never mind. I'm just going to leave it at that. Right? So you got my point. We all want people to value us and like us and want to and say yes to us and not think we're weirdos or whatever. That's a shared human experience. But I will tell you that you're going to be told no, especially if you're out of your comfort zone and you're swinging for the fences. There might be people who just ignore you or ghost you, or might even feel like a rejection. Very, very rarely in 12 years has anyone been rude to me and hurtful when I've invited them, but it's happened and it sucks. But really, honestly, that's a them thing, right? That's a reflection of something that's going on for them. And a lot of times we don't feel good enough, or like, what if I don't know what to do with them or how to help them? What if I fail them? That mindset work is just, it's just your journey. We've all gone through it. And if anyone has worked through that, it's just because they've been around doing this longer. And sometimes we have to relearn. There's stuff where I've had to go back and do personal development books and relearn lessons. Anyone done that where you're like, I thought I figured out this piece of my person, I thought I already fixed this problem with myself. Why is this coming up again? And that's just life. But what we will talk through mindset, and I just wanted you to start giving yourself grace and building up your oomph of like knowing that you're going to do it anyways. Because that was one of your commitments to joining this training. Like, you're going to feel the fear, you're going to do it anyways. You're going to know that there's a chance you might get rejected, but you're going to send the message anyways. Okay. You're going to put yourself out there knowing that someone might roll their eyes or have a snotty comment to make to you, but you're going to do it anyways because you want to grow. And the only way to grow is if you do those things. Okay. And get out of your comfort zone. And personal development is a really great tool. I'm a big fan and I've done a lot, but I'm also not going to gaslight you into saying that's you have to do so much. There shouldn't be an IV drip. Like, I also want you to wring out the sponge and like, just get in the habit of getting uncomfortable too. But sometimes we do need to like put that positive messaging into our brain. But no, too, my point is that all of us have these feelings. So we can all pump each other up, pat each other on the back, wipe the tears if need be, and like keep us going. So I'm going to ask you all to commit to helping encourage people to move forward and through it if they're having a hard time, if they get hit with a rejection or a hard no, or fear is getting in their head, or they're starting to compare. I'm going to ask and call on every one of you to be each other's biggest cheerleaders and be like, that's okay. Me too. You got this. Let's keep going. Can we do that for each other? And like not let ourselves go into a shame negativity spiral, because we can do that too really easily. I used to be really good at that. I still do sometimes. So one of the things that I think is really powerful is to start working on like affirmations and like telling myself a different message. So what I would encourage you as we lead into like our next training is to notice those and this will be kind of one of your assignments, notice those negative messages that come in your brain, that come in your mind, like oh, they're all judging you, or, oh, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? No one's going to say yes to you. No one wants to do this with you, whatever it is. We all have different ones, and they play often on a feedback loop. So if you're tuning into them, you're going to catch it. What I want you to do is literally open your phone and a note in your phone. And when you hear yourself saying it or thinking it, type it into a note on your phone, okay? And track it. And then what I would like you to do, and you can use Chat GPT for this. This is actually kind of fun, or you can just do it, or you can ask me and I will help you reframe it. We're going to flip it into a positive affirmation and start reprogramming that. And then you're going to catch yourself, and we're going to type in your note on your phone something different, okay? A more positive, a positive truth. We're going to correct that thinking. And you could even literally ask ChatGPT or Jamie Sheppard, all right, this is what I'm telling myself. How could I flip this into a positive message, a positive affirmation? And then we go from there. What I used to do actually was I would set reminders. I would take those positive affirmations and I would set, this is my old dog Rain, by the way, so cute. I would set, and they would pop up throughout the day, these positive affirmations that I had reverse engineered, and they would pop up like 3 times a day on my phone, and I'd have to literally swipe them away so that I would see them in my face all the time, in my face all the time. So, let me look at my notes. How does this sound? Okay, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. And for those that were, when we talked a minute ago about like those feeling like recruiting can maybe be seen as something icky. Now, if I was to look at people out there as like dollar signs on their foreheads and a bullseye on their back, as like the way I get to my next goal or like trip points or whatever, that energy is going to transfer, right? If I saw sunshine and I was like, oh, if I got her here, she's going to be 200 Puerto Rico points, and I'm going to get some, I'm going to get some OV, and it's going to lock in my rank. If that was my driving force, how would that be apparent to sunshine? Yeah, would that be icky? I think that's icky. I think that qualifies as icky. Now, if I was like, she's amazing, she literally radiates sunshine, she would be such a fun asset on our team. I know she's got some really big health goals and a passion for this as well. And I just would love the chance to get to work with her. And anyway, and I was to like think about the ways I could help her and the ways it would be fun to work with her and what she might want to how she would benefit from being part of this, and I led with that energy instead. Is that icky? No, she's gonna feel that, right? That's love, that's care. He is giant. He's 20 pounds. He was the one yelling a minute ago. He was across my computer. So,
our cat weighs 30 pounds.
oh my gosh, that's an even bigger cat. I thought he was big. So it's just a reframe, right? It's not going to be received as something negative unless we're approaching it in a negative way, in a way that could be interpreted as that. Okay, come at it with the heart. You have a beautiful heart. You have good intentions. Just let that lead. And I like to think of it as something as simple as this business changed my life. This company changed my life. Network marketing 12 years ago changed my life. Like being invited to do this literally changed every aspect of who I am, how I get to move through the world, the impact I get to make, who I've become, how I get to help people, how I get to serve people. It's been the biggest blessing ever because it's begetted other blessings, right? So I think of it like that. And I think you can look at how has this enriched your life? Are you so grateful that you are invited? Hopefully the answer is yes. Hopefully that's a simple answer. So that's what you get to give people when you recruit them, when you invite them to join you here. Okay. So that was the bulk of what I wanted to talk about tonight. What I'd like you to do, so we've got that one assignment about affirmations. My other big assignment, and I want you to start thinking through this and we're going to spend a minute here putting some stuff in the chat, is I want you to think about what attracted you to Hugh and Grace. What caught your attention? What caught your heart? What caught your interest? What like made you say yes? Like what were you saying yes to? Also, similar question, but a different side of the coin. What propelled you into taking action? Because a lot of times it isn't the good stuff that makes us move. It's the being so, like, what is that expression? Like, God says, well, I had to make you that uncomfortable, or else you would never have moved, right? So what were the pain points? What were the things that nudged you into action that kind of put, like, so the good stuff, but also the pain point stuff. So let's take a minute and put in the chat. I want you to think of, at least, if you can, like 5 for each list. What were the things that you were struggling with? There was discomfort, pain points, and then what were the great things? They can be the opposite of one another too. Finding joy. Okay, I love that, Amy. I'm gonna stop talking and let you guys chat. And if you see someone else's, add it to your list. If you're like, yes, that was me too. We can use each other to brainstorm. Cat hair in my mouth. I love that, Erin. We have such a genuine community. So these are the good things. I love this. What were some of the pain points? What were you struggling with? Where were you stuck? Okay, out of alignment. Perfect, Erin. Thanks for kicking that off. Okay, you have lacking excitement. Yep, stuck, feeling lonely. These are great. Scared to start over. Yep. Will I do this again? Can I do this again? Do I want to do this again? Lacking, yeah, wanting to have more confidence. Lacking purpose. Yeah, that's a big one, Dawn. Like, that's a definitely like a pain point. Like, tired of seeing your family loved ones sick. Okay, these are awesome. Okay, so take a minute before we, like, take a minute right now and put any of these that you like, go through the chat, put these on your list. If you're like, yes, I like this makes sense, this resonates with me, for both lists, and just go ahead and add them to. I like to use notes on my phone. Get a note on your laptop, write it on a piece of paper. I'll give about 60 seconds to do that. Yeah, these are great, Tracy. Everyone. Perfect, Marie. Okay, you've got those on your list. So as you're continuing to write, I'm going to keep talking. So, because these are perfect. This is so true. And I need you to understand that the people that are going to be your future team, your future dream team, the people you link arms with and do this with, are having the same struggles, the same pain points. Okay. They're wanting the same things. It's now our job to go, your job to go find them, my job to go find them. And the way we do that is self-awareness. Okay. If you're tune in and you're like, okay, this is what's going on for me, and we can externalize it, then we can start make a plan around it. Right. And then B, now we go talk about it. Social media is a great tool to start talking about these things. I like to let these two lists, when I'm building my recruiting train tracks, because I do this very intentionally. I've done this very intentionally for 10 years. And if you were to scroll deep, I don't recommend doing it, but if you were to scroll deep on my social media, you'd probably see a lot of repeat offenders in terms of my themes on my posts, because I pull from these two lists and I let them attract the people, right? They're going to speak to the pain points. They're going to speak to the desires. They're going to speak to the pain points. They're going to speak to the desires. And that's how I build my train tracks. And I talk about them in posts. I'll sprinkle it in stories. And I definitely weave it into conversations with people because it's the one-on-one inboxes where that magic happens. So let that be. So if most of the things in this chat, if you scroll and look at most of everyone's examples, the majority of them weren't, some of them were about products, which is great, but the majority of them were about mission and community and meaning and impact and purpose and passion and opportunity. And those are business train tracks. But even the product stuff, that can also lead to, like being able to help others in their health. Right there, you've shifted your own health into the business, right? I'm able to have an impact and lead others to their health and find happiness and health and healing for themselves. Like now that's a business track versus my own health story. Okay. So we will, can you recommend a so yes, we're going to have a module that's specifically talking through social media strategy. But in a nutshell, Heather, because it's a great question, I I like to spend at least the first half of the month just talking about business. I kind of like will plan because recruiting conversations take longer. They just do. They might take months. Some took years. Some at least take a couple weeks. But they take longer. So if I'm waiting on, like if I'm doing it at the end of the month, it might not close by the end of the month if I'm kind of like trying to hit a certain goal. So I like to start the month and spend the first couple months doing that. I'll do business opportunities at the start of the month. And then if you notice our hormone harmony events, for our team are towards the end of the month. So I spend the end of the month more talking about products. And this is just me personally. This is kind of my social media flow, my marketing flow, because those you can close and convert in a day, right? If you're really motivated. And so that's kind of how I do it. But we'll talk more about that. That's a good question. Okay, so let's talk through what you can expect for the rest of this training. Hopefully this was a good, just kind of like lay of the land. Michelle File is going to be doing our second module, and I'm going to read here because I've got it all in my notes. She's going to do a this Saturday morning at, did we say 10:30, Michelle? EST? Hold on, what did we say? 10 a.m. EST. So 10 a.m. East Coast time. That's going to be nice and bright and early for West Coasters at 7 a.m. But we will record all these trainings and I will email everyone on the list after, and we'll talk about that in a second. So on Saturday morning, we're going to have a mix of day, night, weekend, weekday. But like I said at the beginning, we wanted to do at least get a few in before craziness of Christmas week, right? And then we'll probably do one between Christmas and New Year's. We're gonna figure that out and then have a, like maybe like right in the middle of those two. And then we'll kick back up in January so that I want everyone to be able to feel like they can just be with family and unplug and do holidays as that feels aligned. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to hustle through the holiday season unless you want to. And if you want to, that's fine. And so we've got Saturday morning with Michelle, and she's going to talk through building belief, talking about our mission, tuning into your why. I think that's we're going to start talking about that mindset piece of it, and really leading with the mission to attract your dream team, so to speak, and to recruit. And then next week, I don't have a date and time yet, but Jen Delvaux is going to talk about storytelling mastery. So how to use our social media to tell a story about these goals and dreams and our pain points and about the community to pull people in. So we're gonna dig through that. We're gonna talk a little bit more about confidence and mindset around limiting beliefs. Kim Lima is gonna talk us through limiting beliefs, building resilience, mindset practices to kind of change our brain in that way because we're all programmed the same way originally. And then we're gonna dig into module 5 is gonna be specifically more about social media marketing and how to optimize kind of our profile, have a content strategy, etc. Then we're going to talk about conversations that convert. We're going to really dig into that, what those conversations can sound like. There might even be some role playing. We will see. But we will like really dig into like how to guide someone through that conversation. Um, and then we'll also talk through more about building a team, attracting and recruiting business builders, and then some leadership skills and duplication skills. So that is it. We're building our wings as we fly, like I said on the last call. So that's kind of the plan right now, but we're going to also let you guys guide us. What is working? Like, what are you wanting to learn more of? What are we missing? What is the group needing? And we'll build this out into a really nice, robust resource that we can use and share with our teams as we go. Any questions? I'm gonna remove my spotlight. Okay. So our two little homeworks are to take a note in your phone. You're tracking the negative thinking loop. You're going to write it down. We're going to like get rid of it, literally get it out, and then switch up the words. And then also we've got our list. Have your list out. Make sure that list, I like to even say if you're new at this, like print them out and put them on the wall next to where you work so that you can see them. Like wherever you sit and type your posts, like let those and like pretend like you're writing a post to your best friend and you're talking straight to them and just pick one of things, one thing on each list, and just speak to it and share how this business has helped you move away from that or move towards that. So that's all I've got for you tonight. So I hope that was helpful. I'm super excited for this. I'm so glad that you are all here, and I wanted to revisit how I know some people were worried about the original call. So we had a call a week ago, and it was just a Q&A call. It was just like I know that there is like a SAV simplified call or training. I don't want you doing both. So I just said last week, like pick one. If you're brand new, like maybe do that or just focus on the knowledge center training. But if you're ready for this and you kind of have a better sense now of what we're going to be digging into and what will be expected. So we've got that. And then and then Jen kind of talked through just some like start thinking of like, who would your 40 people that come to mind that you would love to do this with, that you would love to help. And so what I need from you, if you did not get any emails from me, which happened, and several of you said you filled out the list a few times. I'm going to try a different way of emailing from now on. But if I send out another email today, there's a form that said, I'll show you what it looked like. Actually, hold on, let me screen share. It looks like this form. It was basically recruiting training confirmation. So it wasn't the first Google form that was like an application, and all it is like full name, email address, watch the call, are you in? This list is going to feed me a spreadsheet of, and I'll show you. Oops, that is not what I wanted. Hold on. So this list feeds me this spreadsheet. And now from now on, these emails are going to be who I email with training stuff. So that original list, like original Google form, I'm not emailing people on that list. I'm only emailing people that have said, yes, I'm in for sure. So I don't keep spamming people that don't want to do this training. So if you want to make sure, you're welcome to fill that form again. I just put it in the chat. If you filled it out, then I got it. If you want to make sure, you can stay on for a second and I'll double check that you're here. I'm also going to put, if you haven't gotten an email from me and you're like, Jamie, I filled out these forms, then can't talk and type. Hold on, let me search your email for me with this address I just put in the chat. hello@lemonademindset.com. That's my Hugh and Grace email. If you could search your email with that for that email address, then if it went to spam or junk mail, it should pull it up. So yeah, I think a lot of them are going to, it's because Sandy, how I emailed everyone was just as a BCC in one bulk email versus, I'm going to put everyone in a streak pipeline this time instead, but I didn't want to put 280 people into a streak pipeline, originally. So probably did go to junk mail. That would be my guess. Okay, perfect. I'm so excited. I'm gonna stop recording.